Hi, I'm Phil Kenyon, Specialist Putting Coach. Welcome to PuttView. Today I'm going to show you how you can use PuttView to improve your putting. One of the things that the golfer really needs to consider to help manage their performance on the greens is to think about what attentional cues that you use when you're on the green as part of your pre-shot routine. Now, what I've seen as a coach is that what you focus on can have a big impact on how you aim and also how you manage your stroke direction. And that's going to impact can you hit your intended line, can you hold that putt. So with PuttView, it's been a great benefit for me to be able to use a system to manage the different attentional cues, and we can measure which cues are best for each individual player. So how can you do that at home? How can you work out which are the correct cues for you to focus on? And I'm going to try and describe that for you here. Now, the important thing to consider first of all is we need to set up a putt where we're actually on the correct break. So the first thing that you would do is go to the green and you would use maybe a device like this string line, this elevated aim line, and I would predict the amount of break that you think the putt would have. Once you've got that, I would hit some putts down that line, just getting a sense of, does the ball start down that string? Does it, from that start line, does the ball then go into the hole? Once you've built a picture of that break, what you then can do is to put down some references. So in particular, what I would recommend that you do is to use something like a gate, because this is going to give us a sense of our ability to start the ball on our intended line. So I'm going to place a gate here directly under the start line, about a foot in front of the ball. By hitting some putts under the string, what I'd also say is start to pay attention of where you think the apex of the putt is. So the apex will be the highest point, okay, the highest point that the ball actually travels along. So I'm going to place a couple of coins here, just round about where the apex is. And I'm also then going to place a couple of coins where I think, or where I see when I'm hitting the balls down the string, to where the entry point of the hole is. I'm also going to place a ball. I'm going to place a ball here directly on my aim point. And once I've got these different cues down, I'm going to remove the string. And what we can see here now is we've got a sense of the target line, okay? What would the straight line be relative to the aim point? We've got a sense of an intermediate point on our start line. We've got a sense of where the apex would be. We've got a sense of the entry point. Now, some players are better in terms of how they aim or stroke it when their attention is directed towards the hole, or indeed the whole path that the ball would take along the ground as it enters the hole. So very often you'll hear this term that a player is non-linear. Well, what does non-linear mean? It means that they're kind of best picturing curves and their attention is placed on that curve or entry point to the hole. For some players, they may call themselves linear. Well, what does linear mean? Well, a linear golfer would be better served by focusing their attention on a straight line. So they may be better focused by just placing or keeping in their mind's eye where that straight line to the target point would be. Some golfers would be better in terms of managing their aim and their stroke by focusing on an intermediate target. By focusing on your intermediate target, it could help you align the putter correctly, and then your attention could be drawn either to the curve or indeed down that line to the aim line hole high. So there's various cues that we can use. Some golfers will be better in terms of when they step in just to consider where the apex of the putt is. That can give them a sense of where they have to start the ball and then also where the ball will travel into the hole. There's a lot of information there obviously for you to consider and a few different cues. essentially it comes down to trial and error in terms of finding out what the best cue for you would be. So with the gate along our start line, start to hit some putts, okay? First set of putts that you would hit, focus on the aim point. Second sets of putts you would hit, focus on your intermediate aim point. Third set of putts you hit, focus on your apex. Final set of putts that you would hit, focus on the curve the path would take and the entry point. Now, as you're hitting these putts, start to pay attention on your ability to actually hit your intended line. Okay, if you can get the ball through the gate successfully each time using a particular visual cue, is that visual cue the best one for you to use? Is it going to help you manage your aim, manage your starting direction? If there's a particular visual cue which, when you're focused on, it becomes apparent that you can't start the ball on your intended line, then maybe that's not the right one for you. So, practice hitting putts. So for me, I know I put my best when I'm more into the curve the ball would take, and in particular, the entry point. So my focus when I get over the ball is to set up. I'm aligning my putter face relative to the curve, and as my eyes work down that curve to the target line, I get a sense of that complete picture. As I draw my eyes back to the ball, my attention immediately goes back to that picture that I've painted in my mind's eye and takes me all the way to that entry point of the hole. Eyes back to the ball, throw my attention back to that curve. And then try and make the putt. So I've hit my starting line. The ball speed was a little bit too firm, so that's why it didn't take the break. But the way I've used those attentional cues, I've engaged what I know is the right connection to target for me, and that's going to help me manage my start line. I'd recommend get out on the practice green. Might take some time to set this up, but you're going to learn what are the correct attentional cues for you to help you manage your start line.